15 years ago, a really close coaching friend introduced me to this book. And since then, Dr. Jim Loehr has become a close friend and a very important voice inside of What Drives Winning. The coach that introduced me to him is Mark Dagnall, who is the Oklahoma City Thunder's head basketball coach. And so what I'd like to do is weave one of the most important concepts that I've learned from Jim with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so we're going to start with the first dimension. So the first dimension is the physical dimension, and there are 4 categories to the physical dimension. It's your diet, your hydration, your sleep, and your exercise. And the more professional your habits are, the more energy you're going to bring to the performance. The second dimension is the mental dimension. And your mind can exist in 3 time zones: the past, the present, and the future. So many young athletes will dwell on the past or worry about the future. The only stress-free zone is the present moment, and you're focused on executing the assignment and serving the moment. Many people will ask me, well, can you not learn from the past? Learning from and dwelling on is 2 totally different things. Just like preparing for and worrying about, 2 different things. When you are learning and preparing, those are present-minded activities. The third dimension is the emotional dimension, and we can process everything that happens to us as an opportunity or a threat. When we look at things as threats, we are fueled by fear. However, when we look at things as opportunity, we're fueled by growth. Everything becomes a lesson for us to get better at our craft and as a person. And then the last dimension is the spiritual dimension. This is not the dimension of religion. Religion can be a part of your spirituality, but this is the dimension of purpose. And it's finding a purpose that's bigger than yourself. It's a self-transcending purpose. And when you do that within the context of the team, it's becoming a member of the team. And this is the process of becoming a great competitor and a great team. One of my favorite things that Jim said in high performance, that you want to start from the top down. Because when you get your purpose right, you have a larger reservoir of energy to draw from. So that's where we're going to start. It's all about finding a purpose outside of yourself. And we're going to start with Mark being asked the question about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's his best player and was voted the MVP of the NBA. Take a listen to what Mark says.
Shai the person. What about him? What's the prevailing thing about him that the public or the media or somebody on the outside might not know?
He wants to be one of the greats. He also wants to be one of the guys. And I think that's like really unique.
How powerful is that? This is what it looks like to be one of the guys. After all the games, the symbolism behind this, when they get interviewed, the whole team is there. Why? They're not going to let anybody from the outside separate what's on the inside. When you look at the commercial, who's he inviting into the commercial? His teammates. Why is that important? Well, check this out. Game 5, the second best player has 40 points. After that, this is the NBA Finals, these are the headlines. Think about how that can create tension inside the locker room. The Boston Celtics dealt with it with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Here's what's so cool. We're going to fast forward to the end. This is after they won. This is Shai learning that he was the MVP.
For the first time in 25 years, the same player won the regular season MVP, the scoring title, and now he's your finals MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay, everyone see this? That's Jaylen. Look how excited he is for his teammate. Shai brings Jaylen into the interview. Watch what happens.
This is just as much my MVP as it is his. And we'll share this one for a very long time. Like you said, we're sketching the book forever. The Dub's a winner, for sure. He's a winner.
Thank you. Congratulations to you, Shai.
Thank you.
Dub.
Never happened before. You've never seen someone win the MVP and then toss it to their teammate for their teammate to lift it. Look at the team behind him. Look how excited they are for him. That's what happens when your best player wants to be one of the guys. The next dimension we're going to look at is the emotional dimension. And again, anytime something happens to us, we can look at it as an opportunity or a threat. Listen to what Mark says after they tell him what the players are saying.
We had talked to J-Dub yesterday, and one of the things that he said, he just kind of said that challenges are fun. That it feels like that's a mentality that all of these guys have. How rare is that, or encouraging to hear that?
It's encouraging. I don't know how rare it is, but you can see challenges as an opportunity or as a threat.
And how you see it as a coach is how you're going to frame it for the athletes. One of my favorite lines from Jim Loehr is this: who are you becoming as a result of the chase? So many times people become a lesser version of themselves inside of competition. If you can frame it right, you can get them to learn that there's a multi-dimensional approach that you can take that actually builds these skills. And when you get them to do that, this is what it sounds like on how to frame it.
These series, they make you more confident, you know, when you clear your hurdles, and they build your mettle when you struggle or when you face adversity. And as long as you're viewing those experiences as opportunities to forge forward, they can be positive experiences for you. You can use any experience, good or bad, to create momentum, and we've tried to do that. We've tried to make a habit of that over time.
It's a psychological habit that creates forward momentum. And if you think about young athletes, they need that because their mind drifts to the future and to the past so often.
You know, the minute you start to drift mentally into the future, into the past, it impacts your ability to stack the next thing. And so we try to stay very disciplined to that.
Who doesn't stay disciplined to that is the media. If you listen to the post-game pressers, just pay attention to how many questions are future-based or past-based. Nothing with the right now. Here's a great example of that.
Shay, with the individual accomplishments you've had this season, MVP, leading the league in scoring, the team accomplishments, you're a win away from putting the finishing touches on a season that's like in the special category historically. How do you wrap your mind around that?
Focusing on Game 6.
Isn't that incredible? If you want your team to be in the present, you have to be in the present. Here's how Mark trained that with them.
Yeah, Mark, you just mentioned it right there, but be in the present moment. That's something that your players often talk about, that kind of be where your feet are mentality. Is there anything you can share about, not just the saying there, but how you all actually have implemented that in your routine, or maybe even back in training camp, how you kind of install that presence within the players?
I think it's just, attacking every day, attacking every rep, attacking every possession, and trying to make that a habit, and understanding the compounding nature of that and the impact of that when you do that. And these are guys that have seen success taking that approach. So, when you do something and then you find success doing it, it reinforces it and it breeds commitment.
And so it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's training them that what is in front of you right now is the most important thing. And here's what that looks like when they play out. They just won the Western Conference Finals at the time of this interview. Scott Van Pelt is going to ask Shea hey, how are you able to be so stoic? Here's what he says.
Yeah, we don't ever play to score. We play possessions. We play to our standard every possession, and we try to win every possession.
Think about that. They don't let anything bleed over, and that is a skill that you can develop, but they have to be able to see it from you in order to do that. And here's another great example of what that sounds like. This is after Game 4. They just won. Listen to the locker room interaction after the win.
We walked right in the locker room. Remember, it was like 0-0.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that.
That is the law of competition. And the way they approach competition is whatever the score is on a Saturday night is the score. The only thing that's guaranteed is when they play at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, the score is 0-0. So the quicker they can get to 0, the higher the competitive advantage is, because they are now working on what's going to happen for sure on Monday. Now, again, we're going to go to Jalen. This shows you how present-minded they are. This is right after he scored 40 points in the game. Listen to Scott try and drag him into the future. Watch what he does.
What's the sense of what your group will need come Thursday night to try to get your first championship here for your fans in Oklahoma?
First off, recovery.
First things first. Think about how disciplined you are to have that mind. And it brings us into the physical dimension. The challenge I'm going to leave you with is think about the busiest season for you in the year. If you were going to scale yourself 1 to 10 in each of these categories, what would you rank yourself with diet, hydration, sleep, exercise? Whatever your number is, if you take a step back and if you were going to give yourself advice on how to improve that number, what would it be? To me, this is the most important thing for your feedback to matter, because they have to be able to see the answer is in your example, and if they see that, your message will be on steroids.